You, as a great future mutual fund dealing rep, you need to know the behind the scenes of mutual fund industry, like what legislation govern this industry. There are some sets of rules that are what keep everything fair, transparent, and secure. In this lecture, we're going to talk about Securities Act, Common National Instruments, and MFDA rules, all about mutual fund legislation. Let's get it done. Mutual fund legislation. What's mutual fund legislation? Remember, before selling a single product or service to your client, you need to know and follow the rules that the three organizations, which we talked in previous lecture, come up with. What was those organizations and what was the rules? We said that each provincial securities commission or the other name is regulator come up with their own Securities Act. So one of them is Securities Act. Then CSA come up with national instrument. And then Zero, or before it was MFDA and IIROC, they came up with the MFDA rules. Okay, so you, as a registered mutual fund dealing representative, you need to follow these three sets of rules, which are for three different organizations. Now, let's recap. We said that the main laws and rules that we have in the mutual fund industry is a Securities Act issued by provinces, a national instrument issued by CSA, a mutual fund dealer rules issued by SROs like Zero. Now, let's dive into details of each of these sets of rules. I mean, Securities Act, National Instrument, and MFDA rules. Let's dive deeper and know ins and outs of each of these sets of rules. Let's just start off with Securities Act. Again, we said that every province in Canada, don't get mad at me. I'm repeating this because when I repeat, I'm sure it'll go straightly to your mind and you won't ever forget it. Because I'm repeating it because you will get questioned about this, okay? Sorry if I'm going into your nerve with repeating this stuff. I have to. This is my method of teaching. By repeating, I want you to memorize it unconsciously. You don't know it, but you are memorizing it, okay? Every province in Canada has its own Securities Act. This is the foundation of all investment regulations. So, Securities Act is a foundation. Let's clarify with an example. Imagine you have a client named Michael who wants to invest in a mutual fund. Now, before you can recommend anything to Michael, you must be registered with, let's say you're from Ontario, with Ontario Securities Commission or OSC. Okay. Why do you need to register? Because each province enforces its own Securities Act through its securities regulator. Okay. What are the key takeaways here? The Securities Act governs all securities, including mutual funds, okay? Not just mutual funds, all securities. Each province has its own securities regulator to enforce the rules, okay? I think it's enough with Securities Act. I repeated it a lot. Let's get to national instrument. We said that national instruments or NIs are national rules created by the CSA. What do? They ensure consistency across Canada. Let's get into the most important national instrument rules for you as an advisor. If you want to become a registered mutual fund dealing representative, You need to know these national instruments. And I've seen like questions saying, okay, what does this national instrument do? Or what does this national instrument include? I mean, you don't need to memorize them, of course, but you have to have an idea. Okay, here. Let's get into the most five of the most important national instruments about mutual fund industry. National Instrument 31-103. What does it say? It covers the registration requirements. What do I mean by that? It determines who can register as an advisor, and it sets out the requirements for firms also. So, National Instrument 31103 covers the all registration requirement. Let's elaborate with an example. Since you are working as a mutual fund dealing representative, you must be registered under this rule before giving advice. Let's get to the second national instrument, which is 81-101. This covers the mutual fund prospectus disclosure. We will get to this prospectus or prospectus in the future chapters. So don't worry if you don't get the meaning here. But this national instrument ensures that mutual funds provide clear and accurate information to investors, and it defines what must be included in fund facts and the simplified prospectus. Okay, let's elaborate with an example. Michael is your client. He asks, where can I learn about this fund before I invest my money in it? You hand him the fund facts document and say, this contains key details about the fund's fee, risks, and past performance. So, why do you hand this? Because National Instrument Rule says to you that, hey, you have to provide this document to the client, okay? You're obeying the National Instrument Rule here. The third national instrument is 81-102. This is about investment funds. So, the main rule book for mutual funds. National instrument is the main rule book for mutual funds. It dictates how mutual funds must be managed, bought, and sold. Okay, it covers everything related to investing in the mutual funds. So, it's one of the most important national instruments. Next one is National Instrument 81-105. This one is also important. It covers mutual fund sales practices. So it ensures that mutual funds are sold ethically and in the best interest of investors. Okay. It sets some minimum conduct standards for you and your firm. Let's elaborate with an example. Let's say Michael asks, if I invest in this fund, do you get a bonus? Okay. You will reply, I'm required to recommend funds based on what's best for you, not because of the bonus. Okay. Why? Because National Instrument 81105 prevents unethical sales practices. Okay. So this rules, to wrap it up, these national instruments, they cover some important rules about registration, about acting ethically, about the mutual fund investment details and the documents, everything. Okay, you as a mutual fund sales rep, you have to know these rules. And in your exam, you may get one question asking what. I mean, you probably not. I mean, we have moved from these types of questions in the last exams. But I mean, it's better to understand all, these five national instruments. But let's get to the MFDA rules. All mutual fund dealers must follow the mutual fund dealer rules. What do I mean by mutual fund dealer? I mean the financial uh, institutions that only sell mutual funds. These are called mutual fund dealers, okay? So these financial institutions have to follow not just Securities Act, not just national instrument, but also the MFDA rules. So what do these rules cover? It covers business structures, conduct rules for firms and advisors, the financial and operational requirements, complaint handling and disciplinary process, the supervision of new registrants, minimum standards for account supervision, continuing education, and proficiency standards. Let's elaborate with an example. Let's say Michael, still your client, comes back a few months later and says, I want to file a complaint because I don't understand my account fees. Okay, Michael is always complaining. Stop, Michael. Um, Thanks to the mutual fund dealer rules, you know that your firm must have a complaint handling process. Okay, you must document the complaint and report it to the compliance team, and your firm must investigate and respond within a set time frame. These are all included in the MFDA rules. Now, you may say, okay, these three sets of rules, which are for three different organizations, these have lots of overlapping. Of course, they have, because they are all for one industry, which is mutual fund industry. I mean, all of these rules are trying to protect investors, trying to conduct and have a good and ethical business in this industry. Okay, these three sets of rules, they will have overlaps because they all share a same and single goal. Okay, to protect investors and to have a ethical and fair and honest business in this mutual fund industry. You don't have to memorize the rules of the roles and jobs of each of these um, sets of rules. No, you just need to know that, okay, Securities Act is for provinces, national instruments are for CSA, and some of the important national instruments are these. And then we have MFDA rules, which are for mutual fund dealers. Just the holistic view, okay? Nobody expects you to name all of the rules of the mutual fund like MFDA rules. No, nobody expects that. And if you encounter a question about, okay, naming all of the MFDA rules or all of the national, this is not that good question, and you won't get it. I mean, trust me. Great, go crush the next quiz because you will see what type of question you may get from mutual fund legislation. You are crushing it, and I'll see you in the next lecture.